Trevor Mbija to Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. We're talking about youth and politics, getting the perspective on all matters, politics, and everything in between here. Kevin Sadi says, truly, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think that's what you meant to say, I will go for a 7. The government has tried among many projects to connect power to a good number of Kenyans, roads being constructed in most areas, new hospitals built, peace fostered, devolution enhanced. Okay. That's a 7 on a scorecard of 1 to 10. Situ says, it's very sad to see some elderly people on top have selected themselves and held this country hostage to keep themselves the leadership that should be felt by everybody across this nation, including the young people. Charlo Woodrosey says, youth are being used by politicians in a wrong way, especially the unemployed youth. They are always given handouts to bring chaos in political events. Youth need to be wise when choosing leaders to associate with. Okay? Engineer Lazaro says, I think youth are recording that important message, the perception of embracing the person who's taking advantage of your disparity to bribe with the rotten fish and the one who's teaching you how to fish. Very important discussion. Okay. Okelo Mwalimu says, in 2022 presidential elections, Kenyans will make a choice between a dark horse and a white one. If we want to perpetuate corruption, kill devolution, and cement the place of tribalism, the former would be ideal. The latter would offer the opposite. Okay? Omariba Omwenga says, if these youth leaders of Vijana Narao have the interest of other Kenyan youths at heart, they should be focused on supporting and uniting them, but instead, they have aligned themselves with one of the political heavyweights. C10I says, every youth political wing identifies themselves with their mentors. At the end of the day, democracy takes the day. However, loud we shout. If you support Rao, well. If Ruto, it is well. We aren't yet a voting bloc as young people. Okay? Brilliant. And that is another important conversation that Omwenga started when we were going through the break. And you brought up the issue of voter apathy. Because it is true, IEBC was targeting about 6 million, only 1.4 million people turned out to vote.
Yes.
And do you think this is the reason why is that? Why are the youth not feeling the urge to take part in politics?
It's because we are tired of seeing the same faces year in, year out, and every 5 years we are recycling the same people. There's a lot of voter apathy because people are saying, we are not saying, why should I go to vote? It is just the same people. And people are saying, I voted for this person, I expected this, but we have not held our leaders accountable. And number two, we have not given the electorate an alternative route. So people are tired, they are saying, in East or West, I'm going to vote for the same people again. Look at 2002. The country came together overwhelmingly. I don't think we'll ever witness the kind of voter turnout we had in 2002. I don't think we'll ever experience that moment.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, every Kenya, in every nook and cranny, came out to vote because we were yanking away from the old. Kibaki had promised us that I'm coming in an economic renaissance. And that's why everybody said, when Raila said Kibaki Tosha, everybody said this is the direction. And people voted overwhelmingly. Why? Because there was an alternative route. But for the last few years, we've been seeing the same faces. Save for the presidency, all the other positions, it's been the same people. So in as much as we are saying we are going to have round 2 of the voter registration exercise, another thing that IBC should also do is to tell the young people, is to tell other people, the ladies, the women, to rise up and give an alternative voice. I'll be very excited to hear tomorrow, there's this other person that is vying. You see yesterday I had, who's now vying for, if you hear, who's vying for governor? Same people, like for instance in Nairobi. We need to come up and say we need alternative faces, and these alternative faces, again, power is not given, power is taken. So we also need to, we just can't say that because we are youth, now people are going to give us the opportunity to come and serve. No way. We have to rise up, we have to fight. Let me tell you, it's blood, sweat and tears. And that's why you have to pay the price for greatness. So the youth have to rise up, say that we want to do this, and if we give that alternative route, if we give that alternative voice, then yes, the country will say, anyway, let's go and register. But otherwise, there's going to be a lot of voter apathy because it's about the same faces, people are tired. I mean, it's just like if you listen to one type of song every other day, your mind gets tired.
Yeah.
So we need a different political song.
Okay.
And we need that to be coupled with different political faces.
Bashir, is that your argument as well, that it's the same faces over and over again that are being recycled is the reason why young people don't even see the need of taking their voters' cards or registering as voters?
Absolutely, Trevor. I think what has happened over time is the youth of the day would want to really take part in this specific democratic process. But then actually, the unfortunate thing is that what they have been faced with is, over time, if you're even to get or procure your identity card and take part in an election, even if you vote the person of your choice, that's exercising a democratic right. But ultimately, I think what has happened over time is the specific promises that were made to the youth were never ever achieved. They were never attained. The youth of the day were promised low cost of living, employment, job opportunities, and what have you. Nothing has been attained. Nothing has actually been made to even make life easier for them. The best that happens is to make life difficult for them over time. And the only time, Trevor, we normally hear endearing messages or endearing slogans to the youth the few months to the general election. You will realize that every single time, once we are done with the general election, those who are making promises, those who are holding good public offices, those who can make a turnaround on the lives of the youth, just disappear like that. And then again, they end up reappearing after the 5-year cycle. That is actually what I think has made the youth of the day in Kiswahili, punda kuchoka. And I think the youth are tired, and they are really tired of the problems that have actually they have been going through day and day and day. Okay. Trevor, the thing that you'll actually believe is an identity card is an identity to oneself. It's a constitutional right. It's a tool that will even make you maybe access facilities, gain job employments, and what have you. Do you know that even just away from the general election or participating in an electoral process, you need your identity card to even access a facility or even for a job? That tells you that the youth, in as much as they will have even gone for identity cards just for these specific limited purposes, these purposes are not even there for them, and they do not even see the essence of even procuring the identity cards. And I think it is really unfortunate.
All right. Billion, now let's talk about the government's performance in general. How would you rate the Jubilee performance from a youth perspective on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest, and 1?
I can give it 7. 7 out of 10, because we've seen a lot of new things coming in. I think we've seen how Huduma Center has helped young people. We've seen also the universal healthcare also failing terribly in the 4 counties that they try to, to implement it in the trial the pilot counties. We've also seen what pandemic has done to our country. If you look at the hospitality industry, aviation industry, there's so many things that how we would have handled the pandemic differently, and I'm happy how now we are looking at it. So we've also seen a lot of young people losing jobs, and we've seen, even where I come from, even the rise in crime just because of the opportunities. So I would give it a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Ezena? And why? You can break it down, whether it's devolution, healthcare, education, economy, whatever you want to break it down in. What, on a scale of 1 to 10?
For me, I would like to commend can I really rate it? I think maybe 6.
Okay.
But I really want to commend the development records, because you see, like, we are seeing better roads, very improved roads, and most importantly, the one that goes to Samburu, the road from Nyahururu to Maralal. Finally, the Jubilee government under President Kenyatta has ensured that this road has reached Maralal. We are also seeing very huge sustainable projects like the railway. We are also seeing like the port of Lamu, and I really want to commend our president also for the dam that is commissioned in Maralal, which is going to provide the whole Samburu West constituency with water. So yeah,
so 6.
Fair enough.
6,
yeah,
okay.
6.
Githaiga?
8.5.
Okay.
8.5 because, number one, international relations.
Yeah.
We've seen His Excellency since day 1, 2013, up to date. He's been on top. Right now, we're talking about sitting at the we're at the United Nations Security Council, representing Africa as a continent. That was a very tough agenda, but we were able to win that. And many other things that we've taken lead, including climate change, even education, access to education and that. Then we have the e-government, as my brother has spoken about. Right now, everybody has e-citizen. I mean, if you want to register a company, 48 hours, 24 hours, that's That's perfect. Education system, the CBC system has come in place. Though many challenges here and there, but that's how everything has to start. Even the first civilization, they started that way. So this, we're moving on. As a middle income country, Uhuru Kenyatta has led us well. We're looking at the elderly program, affirmative action funds, affirmative programs, you know, they've been all over. I mean, when we have droughts, government is always there. When we have disaster, government is always there. Even when we look at COVID-19, apart from few challenges here and there, the management of COVID-19 was exemplary. Kenya was mentioned by WHO as having performed very well compared to many other countries in Africa, like South Africa, which is far much ahead of us economically. Kenya, we did quite well in that. Now, when we come back again to infrastructure, Vision 2030 projects, ongoing LAPSET, ongoing KONZA, ongoing. All these infrastructural projects, we are online with the agenda of the nation. And you know, countries go with succession. And if we make a mistake, and like us young people, and I know people are saying we are psychophants because we are supporting Raila, well and good. Everybody has his choice. But what we are saying, successively, if we have a break where we start bringing new ideas that have never been tested, which can only be compared to the Nazi government of brainwashing and mind control. If we allow those gaps to come in, this country will go down. And that is why I'll echo now, as I finish the scorecard for Jubilee government, what the president said the other day. We have to look at what Kibaki did. Kibaki had a vice president who was Kalonzo. Did you ever see him going around the country tarnishing all the projects that the president is doing? No. Right? Kenyatta has been there. He's got a legacy. We have to protect that legacy and successively succeed it to Raila Amolo Odinga as a choice candidate for 2022.
Mwenga, what is your score? You know, Githaiga's line is very clear.
Okay. I like what my colleagues have said, and you know, it's very clear to the naked eye in terms how I would rate the government is on 4 parameters. President Uhuru Kenyatta talked about the Big 4 agenda. Talk about devolution, healthcare, education, and the general feeling of the economy. I would honestly give this government a 50% because the truth of the matter is there are still questions on what the government promised. I like what the deputy president talks. I'll tell you, in fact, President Uhuru Kenyatta has really tried because he was in government where his main assistant is fighting him from within. So somebody is holding you at ransom, but this is somebody whom you trust. It's like being in a marriage where your wife is sabotaging you and you sleep with her every day. It's a very difficult affair. So you don't know whether to trust the children, who are the cabinet secretaries, or to trust your wife. So for you to do things, you have to have your wife and your children together. So the government has been really trying a lot. That's why even when the president came with Executive Order number 1 of 2019, he realized that I have to wake up and throw out some people in government, from government, though they are still there, for me to make things happen. So I would ask, what is the general feeling of that? Let me tell you. The general feeling is that the people feel that the economy is doing bad because they don't have cash, but the economy is doing bad because the people don't have the cash. So it's a topsy-turvy affair. I would ask myself, what is the cost of living? What is the cost? I mean, 3-4 months ago, if you walked into a supermarket, 5 liters of cooking oil was retailing at 800. It has since moved to 1,100. The government has tried. Look at when the Jubilee government came to power. Our debt level was, we had borrowed 1.9. Kibaki had borrowed up to 1.9 trillion, but you could see where the money was going owing to the kind of projects that he'd launched. Fast forward, this is 2021. Less than a decade down the line, we have borrowed to the tune of 7 trillion. Right now, you saw what Ukuri Yatani did. He's requesting Parliament to increase the debt ceiling to 9 trillion. Yeah. But is the economy going to take that hit? I wouldn't want the position of next president, because I'll tell you, we need somebody who's going to reorient this government and summon the energies of every Kenyan. We need to work thrice as hard to salvage this economy. Yeah. So in a scale of 1 to 10, once again, we give it 50%, but why? There are valid reasons. Remember, President Kenyatta's government has been fighting and grappling with COVID-19 for the last 2 years. So ideally, for the last 2 years, it has been putting off the fire that was presented by COVID.
Okay.
And remember, he said that we were losing close to 2 billion shillings every other day. And if you calculate, we have borrowed over 258 billion over the last 5 months. If you do that calculation, we are borrowing 80 million shillings every hour. 80 million every hour. So I'll tell you, we are borrowing, but that money is being stolen. The president is working very hard to clean his house. If this government was reading from the same script, I tell you, Kenyans are very resilient. Yeah. Kenyans are very tough people. Despite all these stories we hear every other day, yeah, we are still here, breathing, eating, although some of us are really struggling. So yes, it has done very well, okay, but that's why I say, let us vote for a government that is going to reorient our systems across the board, all right, manufacturing and everywhere.
Bashir, what is your score?
Trevor, I don't even know how to score because I don't even see anything to be scored there. I think because I could hear what my colleagues were trying. Those who are trying to lend credence to the government. Yeah. It's I think for me, I'm even finding it difficult, by the way, the kind of parameter to even apply. Trevor, I heard what my colleagues there said. Do you know that what I figured out that all they were trying to list are countable with our fingers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this is a government that has been in office for the past 9 years. That's quite unfortunate, Trevor. Let me set the record straight. For me, the Jubilee government, especially in this second term, it had a specific 4-point agenda, 4 key agendas. But Jubilee ended up introducing 2 more agendas. It forgot about the 4 agendas. It did not even did any single effort to even effectuate those specific agendas. It introduced 2 additional agendas, and those are the 2 agendas it achieved. Number 1, undermining the rule of law. Number 2, contravening the devolved system of governance, undermining devolution. Those are the 2 set of agendas the government has succeeded in. And that will lead me to award the Jubilee government 2 out of 10, out of sympathy, by the way. Trevor, we're at a time whereby we can talk about households. We are talking about connection to electricity in this time and age. How do we even discuss that? The Jubilee government has done that, correct. But we are in the 21st century. We should not be debating on questions of connection to electricity. That is basic in life. The other thing that it can talk about is the establishment of, I think, TVETs. Good, fantastic. That one aside, let me tell you, the president of our day has disobeyed a court orders. When this specific government was coming into office, it promised that the specific revenues that should be allocated to the counties out of the national revenue shall be increased from 15% to 40%. That has not happened. In fact, the devolved system of governance have almost gotten crippled. We have nurses who have been striking overtime over delayed salaries, and the delayed salaries were occasioned by lack of finances to the counties. The little actually the counties were allocated was never even proffered to them. How many court orders this government has been issued against? If we do undermine the rule of law, for any government that disrespects court orders, undermines the rule of law, contravenes the constitution, there is nothing to be discussed. We are a country that is pegged on the rule of law, and that is what we need to abide by. If only our system of governance was appreciated by the specific system we have in here, there's a way, there's a positive thing I could have said. Trevor, let me even refer you to 2 things. Number 1, if you look at the Haki Africa report, just for this year that was issued in November, 43 enforced disappearances were reported. These are Kenyans who actually, in most cases, were abducted by our police. I think I've heard yesterday, the Citizen TV news last night, on the lawyer Willie Kimani case. The police are now I think at the epicenter of those disappearances, of the torture and killing that was done on the slain lawyer. We have lawyers who are abducted each and every single day. We have judges' chambers that are being, I think, raided on by the police. We have court orders that are issued against the DCI director, which are never obeyed. We have an order issued against the Inspector General of Police to apprehend a certain person, never obeyed. We have a Kenyan citizen who is in Canada at the moment, who is yet to come to our country. What are we even discussing here? I think this is a government that the best of the best has attained at 2 out of 10 for the basic things of 1, over a road and tractors that we can see over time that are being constructed. Number 2, some TVETs, I think, around the country that don't even have the facilities. Number 3, I think some maternities that were constructed. You know, the construction is there, but the services, you know, when you talk about the services rendered, you talk about a nurse or a doctor. We don't have those specific special personnel. If you talk about agriculture, the agenda of the Jubilee government was food security. How many Kenyans are starving in Turkana and Northeastern? Uncountable. How many have died? You know, we are relying on the international community and the United Nations. We are in the 21st century and we are still talking about food security. I think the best this government has done was to violate our constitution, disrespect human rights, kill the people, torture the people, abduct advocates, and that is where we are finding ourselves in, unfortunately.
Bashir is not very lenient to this marking, okay? All right, let's see what you're saying online. Let's see what your feedback is at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. There's a lot of it coming through, trying to sift through before I take closing remarks from the panelists here in studio, just to find out what they want the youth to hear from this conversation and what the focus should be going forward. Mutetige says the youth have a major responsibility to make it right this time. A concrete decision needs to be cast in that ballot, clearly knowing it will affect what happens in the next 5 years. Be wise, we are not for sale. Okay. Gideon Mark says, I will give Jubilee 8 out of 10 for enhancing the TVET education and infrastructure. All right. Mika says, the youth don't belong to any political party. What would a jobless person do? Go to a rally for handouts? 90% of them aren't registered voters. Okay. Edwin Ogoma says, yes, it's time for the youth to take the lead, but they shouldn't forget that those they call Wazee were once hustlers too, who fed them and are still providing for their families as well. You will also grow old and the slogan be taken by others. Okay? Lemein Charles says, the savior of the youth is the youth. We are ruled by an organized minority because we are a disorganized, I think you want to say majority. Okay? Lagat says we must not allow other people to use our youth against us. Claim it is the reason we cannot run for office. As youth, we must fight for these spaces. We do not want handouts. Youth should not be used to fight other youth. Okay? Juma Steve says, I would score Jubilee at 4 out of 10. Infrastructure, good try. COVID-19 management, especially lockdown, curfew, were absolutely mishandled. The youth are still jobless. The economy is whack as the debt ceiling and cost of living are unbearable. Okay, so it's a 4 out of 10. All right, Billion. So as we close on this discussion, what is the one thing you'd like the youth to hear as we're heading into 2022? And you're in the political circles, you know this. The reason we keep pushing for advocating for peace is because it gets to a point where some people might not tell the difference, that this is just a difference in ideology and mindsets, but not enmity.
Thank you, Trevor. So last night, one of the young people from Mathare constituency sent me, usually they send me a text message, and this read like, the world suffers not because of violence, but violence by bad people, but because of the silence by good people. The other day, I think, when you're talking about young people, if you look at the population of Mathare constituency where I come from, there are a lot more young people than any other person. And the other day, I went to the funeral Harambe for one of the young people that was killed by the police, the gang leader for the group called Katombi. And because not many young people, especially from Mathare, get such a platform to share what is happening on the ground, Trevor, I want to share the cries of the voiceless people from Mathare. And I am saying this because of what is happening in the constituency office, the CDF office. There have been a lot of letters that have been written to the EACC, to the DCI, about the corruption that are happening in the CDF office. And it's not just something that is coming from me. We had an auditor report that was published in the dailies, but we've not seen any action happening. And many times we kill and parade young people that have been killed because of stealing a cell phone, yet there are people that are stealing their future from them. I want to say here today that we need to be protected. If the government, if the watchdogs cannot protect the people who are voiceless, then there's nowhere we're heading as a country. And today, my call is to the EACC, to the DCI, that we need a holistic audit of what is happening in the Mathare constituency CDF office. Otherwise, we will continue losing young people who are not getting opportunities because their future is being robbed. Okay. And the other day, there was a contractor that recorded a video after he was bullied and stoned by organized group because of a few people at the office are organizing to make sure that they are getting something from the contractors. Okay. And the same contractor confessed that he's been pushed by the members the member of parliament to build a house for him at the expense of what is happening in the constituency. So today, because not many young people will get this opportunity, not many Matharians will get this platform to share what is happening. But this is my cry and my plea to the relevant authorities that we need to be protected. Otherwise, we'll continue losing young people, not because they want to steal, but because their future is being robbed from them by people who don't care. And there are also allies who are top government officials from Mathare that are part of what is happening in Mathare. Okay. So that would be my cry. And it would be so unfair for me to leave this platform without airing what is happening in Mathare.
All right.
Thank you.
Githaiga, closing remarks.
Thank you.
Your Majesty will come to you last time.
Thank you so much, Trevor, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you, Royal Media Services, SK Mashari, and everybody behind the scenes for giving us young people the opportunity to come here and, you know, converse and discuss these matters. Very important to the nation. So for me, I'll say number one, partnership. That's what Raila Amolo Odinga and us as Vijana Narao have agreed to work together through partnership, so that where Raila Amolo Odinga has gaps, we're there to fill them in. Because we already know his ideology, we already know his past, we already know what he wants to do for this country. We're there to fill in those gaps so that we ensure that the 6 million votes, we are able to organize them, like first mobilize the young people, then organize these young people and ensure they actualize. So we've come up with different programs. We have student programs whereby we'll be doing town halls all over the country to educate the youth about their political rights, their political freedoms, so that they can choose the right leader. This is sort of what we call a Go TV strategy, close to what Obama did in America, so that we can ensure Baba occupies State House in 2022. We also have youth in agricultural programs. We also have a program called the Smart Border. We can't reveal so much now, but if you want to join us and if you want to be part of our team, you can email us at vijananarao@gmail.com, or you can reach out to Trevor through the tags that he has, the socials, so that we can join in to become one team. I want to take you back to the 90s, after the Apartheid era in South Africa. Nelson Mandela had served for a very long time as a political detainee by the apartheid regime. When he left, when he was released from that suffering, he was an old man. But South Africa and Africa and the world over had a Mandela moment. We have reached that particular moment as Kenya. We have reached a moment where the elder Raila Amolo Odinga is the one who is suitable, who has the experience, the know-how, the international good record to take this country further. We are going to appeal to our opponents in the Tanga UDA side, Deputy President, to work a bit harder. Yeah. Like what Morade said the other day, you have to be an opposition leader, which has been a proven fact, to become the president. Yeah. So I thank you, and I call upon all the youth to join us at Vijana Narao.
There's something you mentioned there that I want also you to clarify. Sure. You mentioned that you're reaching out to the young people in the nation, and I assume you're reaching out to everyone. Yes. And it's not just the people who are supporting you. What about the people who are on the opposing side? I mean, that's what you're trying to do.
Yes, that's what we're doing. We're saying that right now, even if you saw the figures that came out yesterday, in 2017, Raila was getting 0.1% in Meru. Now he's getting 50% according to the latest statistics. That shows you that already, even for me, someone who had never voted for Raila, I'm a proven fact of having changed my mind and changed the way I look at politics in Kenya and joined Raila Amolo Odinga. So our Kralian call is for the youth in every divide. Wipe off your eyes, wash your face with fresh water, and see where the promise of this nation is with Raila.
Omwenga.
Thank you, Trevor. I only want to urge one thing across the country. It's a crushing disappointment that a deputy president can tell the whole country that his contender, number one contender, his number one competitor, Raila Amolo Odinga, is too stingy to be a president. I want the youth, I want the women, and I want the men and the people who love this country to shun the politics of tokenism. Inchi ya kitu kidogo. Somebody cannot be exploiting our people. Somebody cannot be taking advantage of the vulnerability of the majority of Kenyans when he talks on national television across the country that somebody is stingy. And yet you are taking advantage of people's vulnerability to dish out small things because you know they are vulnerable. When somebody tells you the other party is stingy and you can see clearly what they are doing, it tells you there's somebody who's exploiting, taking advantage of majority of the people in this country. Trevor, we must shun the politics of tokenism that is being perpetuated by William Samoei Ruto. I think as a country and as a young people, we are saying no. Personally, in West Mugirango constituency, I'm going and I'm telling everybody, let us shun the politics of tokenism that is being perpetuated by the number two. Thank you.
Bashir, what is your closing remark? You're the only one who's neutral here. Everybody else has already taken position.
Thank you, Trevor. For me, I'm not interested in any politics. But if any of my colleagues convince me, they might get my vote. You know, who knows? I might even transfer it to Samburu or even in Mugirango. Yes. Who knows? Anyway, on another note, Trevor, I think the youth of our country at the end of
Bashir. You seem to be having a bit of a challenge there with Bashir. As soon as he comes back, we'll get back to him for his closing remarks. But, Hezena, it's your chance now.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Sorry, I see me. Yes, I think, Bashir, you're back now. Let's try this one more time. Bashir, can you still get us? Okay, let's go back to Bashir in just a bit. Hezena, your closing remarks.
Yeah, so I think we are right now at the right and perfect time for youth to be youth in this country and to think about where we want our country to be in the next few or 5 years. We need to evaluate strongly these political aspirants, especially for the presidential candidates, because we know that a lot of key and critical decisions will be trickling down from this person. And if you look at Baba, for instance, he has very, very nice policy interventions for us youths. Things like the tax holidays, you know, for us youths, because like I said, from the World Bank report, one of the major problems we are suffering is lack of employment and poverty as the youth in this country. Inability to access proper education and healthcare. Those are the four major problems facing the youth globally. And I'm thinking, as youths in this country, we are the ones suffering unemployment. We are the ones whose family are staying hungry because we do not have jobs and we do not have the money to put food on our tables. It's about time for us to stay hungry, you know, for once, avoid the handouts and think, ata kama ni kukula, let's eat the money where we have to eat, and then let's vote where we think is good for us. Baba Raila Odinga has very good proposals on the youth, like the tax holiday, the tertiary and training schools, and bringing up the training institutions for the youth, you know, and he has also promised more than 4 cabinet positions for our youth. I think this is a president who's thinking about us, and look at his track record. Here we have a candidate against Baba who has destroyed Aurora and Kimorer. These would have been mega projects that would have been sustainable for our youths. These are projects that would have revamped the agricultural sector. These are projects that would have put water in these villages. These people would be maybe moving into agriculture, you know. And right now, looking at the track record of Baba Raila Odinga, he has not stolen anything. If anything, he has a very good track record as an engineer for coming up with something like KEBS. He put in the standards for this country, and an engineer knows what he's doing. He's going to put standards and set the bar high for what he wants to achieve. Yeah. So we need to think critically as youths in this country. First of all, elect a presidential candidate who's putting our interests first, and when it comes to our villages, let us put these youths in position. We have the energy, we have the ideas to transform our county, our various counties and villages, and it is our time right now. Let the people who are tired go and rest and become our think tanks and help us think from home.
But it's good to set the record straight that the Aurora and Kimore's situation cannot be placed on the deputy president.
It is just an example. It's just an example. Yeah, not really, but it's related.
Let's just make that clear that there's absolutely no evidence of that.
I think just make it 1 minute, jump into that. It's because he went into the media and said it was 7 billion. If he kept quiet and allowed the investigators to investigate, that's how his name was pulled in.
Yeah, it was pulled in, but there's still no evidence that he's part in it. So this is that situation I want to veer off from completely.
All right.
Take a quick break now. Hizena Lemelatian, aspiring women rep Samburu Global Peace Ambassador, thank you for making time. Billion Ojiwa, aspiring member of parliament for Madare, asante for making time. Griffin Zomwenga, West Mugirango, member of parliament, aspirant, asante for making time. Edward Githaiga, youth leader, chairman, Vijana na Warao, thank you for making time as well. And Suleiman Bashir, lawyer, who was speaking to us from Mombasa. Unfortunately, we lost him in between there with internet connections, had problems. But we're taking a quick break here. On Daybreak, when we come back, Roy T-Boy is on the decks. It's time to dance, yes? See you in a bit.